Okay, so we're looking at speaking activities for adults and teens. And so I've opened my website of materials immediately. I already put the search, but you remember, like, if you start at the beginning, right when you get on the website, usually you have this, it's already selected. Grammar's already selected. What we're going to do today, we're not interested in especially grammar. We are interested in speaking activities for adults and teens. So I'll go ahead and select adults, for instance. And now, type of activity, speaking activities, we see two very different types of speaking activities, P3s and production. So I'm going to start with P3s that are usually shorter speaking activities. We don't always have time for a large production activity. A production activity can easily take 30, 40 minutes. It might just take 20. It depends on the production activities, but they can easily take 30, 40 minutes. We don't always have time for that, but we still need to develop fluency, and we still need to give our students the opportunity to speak. And we want to hear what they master, what they're capable of using or not. So P3 activities for adults, we'll start with that because there are a bunch.
They are a bunch.
There are a bunch. Let's have a look quickly at the number of pages. Yeah, 42 pages. We like P3 activities. So let me start with 3D stories. This is something that I think not all of you have seen before. 3D stories are fun ways to quickly practice narrative tenses, any narrative tenses. It can be past continuous, you know, for painting a picture, for giving context to the story, and or past perfect to explain the past. The way it works is very simple. Each card has a sentence in the past simple representing the main part of the story. And you cut the cards into a little stack. And so students take one card at a time. They read the card as the main story, and they need to come up with one or two, so that depends what you want to practice, one or two past continuous sentences to add context or paint a picture to the story, and or one or two past perfect sentences to add background or explanation to the story. So you see, this is a P3 activity because it's really all about reaction. The students are they're not developing a story on its in its full extent. It's really all about reaction. Pick up a card. There's a sentence in past simple. Quickly come up with one or two pictures. Come up with one or two explanations. Boom. Next card. Boom. Next card. That's a P3. Definitely a P3, not a production activity. We give an example. Sorry. No. We give an example here. If you have a card, I broke my leg. So context could be, it was snowing. Yes, it was snowing. What else? It was raining as well. You can use your leg when it was raining. I was running, things like that. Explanation, I hadn't worn my winter shoes. I hadn't noticed the puddle. All right? And you have plenty of cards like that to use at different levels for 3D stories. I broke my leg. I got sick. I started crying. My boss fired me. All these little cards can be used like that to drill, boom, boom, boom. Past continuous, past perfect. It's really a P3 activity. You could extend it to a more production type activity if you ask students to link more than one cards together at the end and come up with a larger story. Any questions on that? 3D stories. As you can see, there are already two here, and we're going to prepare a lot more. Any questions, comments on 3D stories?
No, there are no questions, but I can say that my kids really like that stories, and sometimes they got very funny explanations.
I didn't hear you very clearly, Liana. You said you've used them and your kids really like them, right? Perfect. Sorry, just the microphone wasn't very clear. I didn't fully, perfect. Yeah, 3D stories are very easy to use, to drill like that, to give the students an opportunity to quickly use past tenses. Oh, well, good luck with the bus. To quickly practice speaking with narrative tenses. There are more activities on that. I'm going to show you actually other ways to practice narrative tenses with P3s. What part of the sentence should be presented on the card? So you see, the card is always the main story. It's the past simple. She found a place to hide. Quickly, paint a picture. Well, the police were looking for her. She was running. What else? Well, you can always do the weather. It was raining, things like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can say it was raining heavily.
Exactly. And then to explain the past, you need to explain, well, why was the police looking for her? Well, she had just robbed a bank.
Had forgotten her umbrella at home.
She had left her umbrella at home.
I've got very boring explanations. Sorry.
Don't worry, don't worry. It's the bus. It happens. You can write if it's easier. Just write. Svetlana, does that answer the question? Yes. The card is just the main part of the story. So it's all past simple, and the students need to quickly come up with past continuous, past perfect. If they don't know past perfect, you just use it for past continuous, for example.
Okay, just do they have to continue the story?
They don't have to continue the story. At first, it's really just card, a few contexts, a few explanations, and then next card, and then next card.
They have to make it richer, so the main story is still the same. So they have to paint a context, and they have to give an explanation.
Okay, I see. Thank
You can extend the activity. Just as a P3, I would use it just like that, card after card, but you can extend it, make this activity into more like a production activity, where after they've done 3 cards, for example, they then need to connect the 3 cards in one story. Like, she found a place to hide, they broke up, I bought a new computer. Well, good luck with that. That's going to help your students develop their creativity for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, but that would be more production because they'll need time to link those 3 cards. She found a place to hide. Well, maybe they broke up was the first step. Then, so they broke up, she ran away, she found a place to hide. Actually, I was hiding at the same place, so that's how we met. We fell in love. Everything started developing. I got more money and I bought a new computer. Okay, that's just off the top of my head, quickly trying to link the 3 cards. It does not have to be a very smart story. The goal is for the students to just tell a story. It's a lot of fun, actually, sometimes trying to connect cards like that seem unrelated. The students have fun with that. All right? So, well, actually, if we continue on narrative tenses, let me show you directly something on narrative tenses, another P3 for narrative tenses. So as you can see, you have brag in P3s, loads of brags, pages and pages of brag. Same thing, unbelievable how much brag there is. We do like bragging, don't we? Building dexterity, convince, they're all on there. Okay, that's a lot. Let me write it. Oh, fine. There we go. So I didn't want to go through all the pages. While we're on narrative tenses, there's another kind of P3 game that I really like, just called Explain Yourself. And as you see, there are a lot of different Explain Yourselves for different levels. The whole idea of Explain Yourself is that on each card, there's a strange situation. And so you see the instructions here. You cut up the cards again into a little pile, and card after card, student A takes a card. You see here, I'm reading just. Student A takes a card and questions student B about the situation. Student B makes up a story on the spot that explains why he or she was in that situation. So here, instead of having, you remember the previous 3D stories, the students had clear instructions, come up with 2 past continuous, 2 past perfects, for example. Here, you're letting students be more creative. The students just get the situations. Why did you miss the last lesson? So I'm student A, I'm asking student B this question. Student B needs to improvise a short story, a short explanation. Why they missed the last lesson. Why did you sleep outside last night? I saw you. I was going home. Right outside my door. I saw you. You were sleeping outside. Why did you wear a mask yesterday? Okay, all these little cards, the students have to quickly come up with an explanation. Any questions on these? There are really a lot of explain yourselves. Any questions? There's even an explain yourself for conditionals. That's really higher level. But all the other ones, you see A2, B1, past simple, continuous, past tense comparison. The students are going to quickly come up with explanations for these situations using whatever tools they know in narrative tenses.
Explain yourself with conditionals really helps, because in books there are usually very boring and the same examples and activities. And here is the way where they can imagine and make something unusual, and it usually works better because it's not so boring.
So you see here, explain yourself for conditional. What we do is very similar. Student A takes an explain card, and he or she reads the card aloud, questioning his or her partner. Same procedure. Student B explains the situation or justifies their action. Now, look at the situations. Why didn't you help me? So here it's the job of the students with conditionals to adapt a little bit more. If you had helped me, I wouldn't be in this mess right now. If you were a real friend, you would have helped me. I already produced 2 mixed conditionals. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That was Olga, right? Asking about conditionals with explain yourself.
No.
No? I didn't hear.
Not me.
Not you. Well, yeah, you can absolutely use explain yourself with conditionals. It's much more lively than, yes, I agree with you, what is commonly found in textbooks. And I like it because it doesn't go into the you know, imaginary situation typical for conditionals that actually we don't use a lot in real life.
Mm-hmm.
If you were a dragon, I don't know.
You would be the most powerful dragon in the world.
Exactly. And if you were a dragon, I'm sure you would be Daenerys' favorite dragon. It's always fun to make sentences like that, but really, in real life, I can't picture myself saying that apart from during a lesson.
Mm-hmm.
So explain yourself, you can absolutely use them with conditionals. All right, let me note them down because there are a lot of P3s. I'm not even sure. We should have time for all of them today. Okay, let me take out explain. So we get back to all of them. So that was enough for narrative tenses. For conditionals, you're absolutely right. There's a P3 that I want to show you to demonstrate that not all P3s focus on grammar or vocabulary. There's a P3 here that is very useful. for a number of different lessons. It's called a gift, and it's actually a P3 on intonation and emotion. So what's going to happen is students are going to give each other gifts. Student A gives student B a gift, and student B should respond politely, but also should try to communicate to the other student through their intonation and emotion whether they like or not the gift. Because of course, when you get a gift, you have to say thank you, and you have to be appreciative. But people are not always especially thankful when they say thank you. And this is a very, very good skill for students to develop. The ability to read intonation or to play on intonation and emotions in English as well. So you see, the procedure's right here. You draw a chart on the board. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This means the students are going to roll a dice. And 1, 2 means flat intonation. 3, 4 means measured. And 5, 6 is enthusiastic. So this tells student B what they feel about the gift. Student A rolls the dice. According to the result on the chart, that is the intonation that A expects to hear from student B. Student A takes a gift card. A gives the gift to student B. B responds with thanks using intonation. A responds to B's intonation as if it is appropriate or inappropriate, according to the earlier dice roll. And then B adapts his or her intonation to the situation. So you see, for instance, I'm going to give you a horse. Wow. But first, if it's my gift, I expect a certain intonation from you. So I roll the dice, and I expect you to be like super enthusiastic. From what I've heard, like, you love horses. This should be the greatest gift for you. I take the card, I give you the horse, which is a surprise for you, and you react appropriately. A horse, wow. Well, thank you, Antoine. That's so kind of you. Well, I'm definitely going to need to find a place in Moscow to keep the horse. It's not that easy. Thank you so much. That's really nice. I hear in your intonation that you're saying thank you, but you seem more troubled about the gift than pleased. So I'm going to respond as well in that way. Really, a horse? But I thought that was your dream gift. Well, blah blah. We can have a conversation like that, playing on each other's intonation and mirroring each other's emotion related to the gift. Mm-hmm. Was that clear?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yeah, it was.
Keep this for higher levels. But I've played this with B1 level students as well. They can get into it as well. Just intonation and emotion. That's a fun thing to practice regularly throughout a course. We're clear on that one? A gift? No questions?
No, that's clear.
Awesome. A quick question. Do we need any, oh wait, they're in the chat. No questions. All right. So my quick question. Do we need any introductions on the good old classic 3 P3s that we have here in resource education? Convince, shock, brag? Because you have loads of them as well on the database. Look, if I just type convince, okay, I'm gonna have to work on the programming here. I don't know why brag is in, why would brag come in? There's maybe convince in the instructions of brag. That might be why. Okay, I promise I'll look into why brag is appearing for convince. I think it's because there's the word convince in the instructions. That's probably why. You see how many, there are loads of brag, loads and loads of brag activities. And convince, the same thing. Plenty, plenty, plenty of convince for different levels and a number, okay? So you have 9 different brags for C1, C2 level, 9 different brags for C1, 9 different brags for B2 plus, 9 different brags for B1, B2. And you'll have the same thing for convince. The whole goal of these P3s on each card, student A just reads the card and student B reacts. This is a P3 activity, so you're just listening to what your students use, what mistakes they make, and what they're avoiding, because you know what they know. And in this case, it helps you to understand, you're testing their fluency. You hear exactly what your students master. Do we need any examples of convince, brag, and shock? I can pull
like to see the example of brag.
Sorry?
Yeah, I think we do need.
Okay, convince. So as always, instructions are right here, okay, on the left. There's only one rule when students are playing convince. So you're gonna cut the cards up in a little stack. There are usually 6 of them. And student A takes 1 card. On that card, there's something that they need to convince student B to do, say, or think. Student A just reads it, and student B, the one rule, cannot say yes. They have to refuse, and student A and student B will have a short conversation where student A tries to convince student B, and student B tries to say no, politely. The key thing is not just to say no. You'll see that students have loads of fun with it. At first, the first times, they're a bit uneasy, and the first reaction is just no. But then students get into it, and they learn to play on the situations. So, oh, ladies, please, will you help me get my acting career started?
No.
How come?
You're a terrible actor. You're such a beautiful teacher. What kind of art career are you talking about?
Well, it's just been my childhood dream, actually. If you've ever studied with me, my example for passive is always the same. So the first James Bond was played by Sean Connery. James Bond now is played by Daniel Craig, and James Bond will be played by Antoine Marcq. I've been using that example for loads and loads of years of teaching, and now finally it's Daniel Craig's last James Bond. It's my opportunity. Please, will you help me get my acting career started?
No, we just can't let you go from teaching. Come on, James Bond, you're gonna go to sunset with beautiful girls, and what about teaching?
If I do one James Bond movie, it's not going to completely stop me from teaching. I still have time for teaching.
Oh, come on. You know it's not true that you're gonna be in Hollywood and we're gonna be in Moscow. And how will you come to...
That's how you see me, huh? That's how you see me. You think that after just one film, I'm gonna abandon you and be like some kind of like jet set Antoine in Hollywood?
Just, you know, just the film is gonna be awesome. So they will not let you go, you know? We're just sorry, we can't let you go. We value...
It's not gonna happen in one movie. Just please, one movie. No. I need your recommendations.
No.
So it's a lot of fun. I can continue the conversation for a long time. It's a lot of fun. You get the idea?
Yes.
It's really quick little conversations like that, quick little dialogues between the students. Student A reads the card, student B has to say no, and then they have a short conversation like that, and you're listening to their fluency. You hear exactly what they mastered because it's all about reaction. Students don't have time to prepare anything here. That's how convince works. But we also have, for example, brag. This is a C2 level. This is a C2 level brag. But here, bragging, there are no rules. It's not about saying no or anything. It's just student A reads the card, and student B can react in different ways. Disbelief, amazement. There are really a lot of different... Did you know that I'm excellent at selfies?
What? No way.
Yeah. Actually,
No.
I don't post, you might have noticed, I don't post any of those selfies on Instagram or social networks because honestly, they're too good.
Oh, come on, we don't believe you. We haven't seen a single selfie from you.
I posted one selfie once. It was up on Instagram for 10 minutes. It broke Instagram.
Oh, really? It was you. And I was thinking, come on, what is happening?
No, Instagram, I have an official letter from Instagram asking me never to post selfies because when I do, it just breaks Instagram. They're that good.
Wow. Can you show us?
No, I don't want to break Zoom now.
Oh, okay. So you have to print it and send it to us, to everyone.
No,
Russian Post,
maybe
it's wonderful.
Maybe on my deathbed I'll risk it, but before then I'd rather not risk it.
Oh, okay. Well, and what is your secret?
So again, I can continue. These are loads of fun. Honestly, yeah, I have fun even playing with these, not teaching. They're just fun starts of conversations, and it's very good to build up fluency.
Mm-hmm.
Convince, shock, brag. Do you have any more questions about those three? Because I have more to show you. We have new ones.
No, that's clear here.
Clear?
Yeah.
Okay, let me get back to P3 for adults. Boom. So convince, shock, and brag are all three P3 activities that work like that. Student A takes a card, student B reacts to what student A says. We have a new type of P3 that works in the same format, but we haven't published them in card formats yet or anything. They're called Idiot, and they're loads of fun. Students are going to play idiots. So check out the instructions. It's very simple. So again, this activity is meant to test the student's fluency and their ability to rephrase. So the goal is, again, like with all P3s, what we want to generate is a reaction from the student that is spontaneous, that is direct, so that we can feel exactly what they master. So in Idiot, the idea is this. Student A takes a card and reads the statement aloud to his or her partner. Student B is going to purposefully misunderstand everything that A tries to explain. You can do it in an idiotic way, in a confused way, in a condescending way, as if A has no idea what B wants to say. So it's a lot of fun because it starts with one statement from student A, and student B questions everything. And student A needs to just react quickly, rephrase everything, and try to explain what they're trying to say. Oh, ladies, I need to renew my passport.
Oh, what?
Необычное сочетание букв. Antoine.
Yes? I need to renew my passport.
What? You need a new password?
Not a password, a passport. It's kind of like a little book that you show when you go to another country. You show that little book, and they let you come in.
I'm sorry, you show a book when you come to another country.
It's kind of like a book. It's not really a book. It's got your name on it, your nationality, your date of birth.
Oh, so you bought a book and you wrote your name there? You know it's
No,
bad to spoil a book.
I didn't buy the book. The government gave me that book.
The government, our government, gives you book. My government never gave me a book.
Not your government, of course. My government. I'm Belgian, so I have a Belgian passport. It's a Belgian book.
So in Belgium, government gives people's books.
Yes.
It's amazing.
But
Let's move to the Belgium.
The Russian government gives you 2 books, actually. You know.
Let's move to Belgium then. When can you?
But why?
Help us?
In Belgium, you get 1 book. In Russia, you get 2 books.
What? We don't have books in Russia?
Yes, you do. You have 2 passports. And we can go on like this again for very long. You get the idea? Yes?
It was my first time. It's very difficult to play an idiot for the first time.
Well, that's because you're not an idiot. So at first it's difficult.
No, I'm sure I can succeed.
It's a lot of fun. Students have a lot of fun with idiot, honestly. And it's, as you see, it's very similar to shock, convince, brag. The whole idea is simply to get reactions from the students. Any questions, comments on idiot?
No questions. May the students be provided with the cards, with the reactions, with the examples, how to react?
You can model for the students. So at the beginning of these activities, I always show an example to my students.
Mm-hmm.
And you can write on the board different types of reactions that they can have. So you can brainstorm before the activity. You can say, well, how? So for example, you can be an idiot, or you can not believe the other person. What are you talking about? Renew a passport? That doesn't, but you can be condescending. Passport.
Mm-hmm.
Students can play with those.
It can be a deaf grandmother, for example.
Yes. They can play century people. Mm-hmm. I didn't hear you. And here they might practice reported speech, things like that. I agree that idiot, you want to keep that for B1, B2 levels. A2 might have trouble. At A2 levels, they can only have fun with the idiot part. But it's still, you don't want to give them an extra card that gives them the reaction, because what you want is for them to react spontaneously, so that you can see exactly, well, hear exactly what they master and what they don't master.
Sometimes they don't like the situation you give them.
The students don't like it?
Well, sometimes they don't like when you add a situation, when you say them how to do it. They want to choose themselves.
Yeah, the students get enough instructions and directions when they're studying, when they're doing exercises. At P3 level, we want to give them the freedom to express themselves. These are speaking activities, so they should have the freedom to do whatever they like. The cards, honestly, are so ridiculous that I've never had trouble with students not knowing what to say. They just, what? And they have fun with it. The first couple of times, they might be uneasy because this is not what they're used to in textbooks. So it is surprising and it is out of context. So the first couple of times they play it, they might be a bit slow, but insist, because if your students have questions, you can tell them, this is real fluency. When you have time to prepare for your speaking activity, well, you're choosing what you're going to say. Here, it's all I want to hear are reactions from you, and you're going to develop your fluency much faster this way.
We can call this game Mowgli.
Mowgli?
Yes, from the forest. Who doesn't understand?
Uh-huh. From the Jungle Book, yes?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. I hadn't thought of that. Yes, maybe idiot is not a very good
Yeah,
word.
a little bit offensive, yeah.
Offensive?
A little bit maybe.
For kids, it's not. They like it.
Ah, well, you don't have to call the activity in front of the kids.
Okay.
For the kids, I agree. Okay, Mowgli is a good idea. I'll talk to Tom about it. But yeah, the students shouldn't get offended. The students are not the idiots. We're playing idiots. And that's always fun. I always like playing the idiot.
Okay.
Ta-da. All right, enough playing. Yes, I'm offended now. I'm no idiot. Enough idiot. Right? Or do you have any more questions about idiot?
No, no, no.
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 No. Mm.
No. Okay, then last P3 I wanted to show you today, because honestly, like this is as well, this is very powerful. Building dexterity is very, very useful throughout the whole year. I start at the beginning of the year just with word associations, and throughout the year, make the students do more and more things with this. So building dexterity. Some of you might know this. I've even got a full video on YouTube and it should be on my Contact page as well, I think. Maybe not Facebook. A whole video where I explain every step of building dexterity, how you can use it in class. And here I wanted to show you all the building dexterity, like you have loads and loads of them. 5 pages worth. So you see 11, this one is number 11. So that's 11 different building dexterities for B2 plus level. The goal of building dexterity is very simple. We want to help our students develop a talent for speaking, because actually students sometimes when they say, I don't know what to say at speaking activities, it's not always because of their level in English. Sometimes it's simply because, well, you know what? In Russian or in their native language, they would still not know what to say. Not all speaking activities are very well designed to give a purpose for the student to speak. First of all. Second of all, we don't always have things to say on all topics. So check it out. Here, because there are lots of activities you can do with these cards, there's a whole YouTube video explanation on how to use building dexterity. Building dexterity activities are actually very simple in terms of handouts. All you're going to have here are just cards with nouns or concepts on them. You're going to cut these out into individual cards and put them in a stack. And the goal of these cards is to help students to make associations, to have things to say about these different topics. So I'm going to use these cards if my students really have trouble thinking of things to say. First, I'll use these cards simply with word associations. I'll ask my students to do 1 card at a time, come up with 3 associations with each card. No speaking, no writing, no monologues, dialogues. It's just, okay, first card, cats. Okay, well, dogs, rain, it's raining cats and dogs. Yes?
Fluffy.
Puppy. Next card, milk.
Hot.
Hot.
White.
White.
Cold.
Cold. Sleeping.
Wow. Dreams. Paradise. Yes, please. Sorry. Sleeping. Bedroom.
It's enough. We did 3. I just got stuck on your last one. TV.
Shows. News.
You go on like that. Word association, like 3 word associations for each card. If the students are struggling, first you do it slowly without time, and then you can press them for time. So for example, how many word associations can you make in 30 seconds? Or you give them 1 minute to give 3 word associations for each word, for each card. So it's like, okay, cats, okay, pets, dogs, what else did you say? Puppy, milk, bam, boom, bam, bam, da, da, da. And we try to do all the cards in 1 minute. These are different ways to kind of like push your students to do it faster. And what the students are doing here is simply developing their dexterity. It's not fluency yet, it's dexterity. It's helping them make quick associations in their mind from one topic to different topics.
Yes, that's interesting.
All of the building dexterity activities are like that. So for example, for C1, you'll have the topics are going to be less connected. 3 word associations. Okay.
Yes. I don't care. 2 letters.
There you go. It's more difficult.
I need to build my dexterity. Yeah, it's all the same thing.
No, it was good. You made 3 word associations.
I'm just A2, not C1. You know.
No, it was pretty good. So you'll start with word associations, and then over the weeks and months, as you see that they're getting better and better at quickly making word associations, you'll see in the YouTube video, there are different games you can play to use these for monologues and for dialogues. So for example, dialogues, each student gets a card and needs to drive the conversation towards their topic. Okay, you're talking about okay, feeling okay, what it means to feel okay, blah, blah, blah. And I try to move the conversation towards biting. It's not that easy. That would be a dialogue. Or a monologue, you can ask the students to talk about 3 or 4 different cards in one dialogue, in one monologue, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of different games like that. I highly recommend you check out the whole YouTube video on that, because this is something we do with our students throughout the academic year, so that by the end of the academic year, you never hear again students telling you, I don't know what to say. You never see them struggling with a speaking activity, because this gives them the dexterity in the mind to be a bit like gymnasts with their bodies. Gymnasts have amazing flexibility and everything and dexterity, and we want our students to have the same speaking. How to search for the games on YouTube. Right here. The link is right there. Boom. You open it and open.
Well, I think this one is on your contact page as well.
This is, I've done a video on my social networks on that as well, and I've put quite a few cards on there as well. Yes, so you can find them there as well. There are loads and loads of building dexterity activities. I really wanted to show you that today because the academic year is starting. I highly recommend, maybe not the first, you don't have to start first lesson, but actually it is a good first lesson activity as well. Just word associations, it's a lot of fun. Students have fun with it because it's crazy ideas. They get to know each other because when you make weird word associations, actually the students laugh and they ask questions afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good way for them to get to know each other. And as I said, keep them with you throughout the year. Use different cards throughout the year, and you always do word association, and then word association plus dialogue. And then towards maybe February, March, you do word association plus monologue. And you'll see that by the end of the year, no more, I don't know what to say. You always should know.
Yes.
That's a talent. It's great. And I know some of our students actually, they love it so much they play these with Russian cards as well because it's good fun.
Uh-huh. Completely agree.
So that's building dexterity. Those were the P3 activities I wanted to focus on today.
Mm-hmm.
Again, if you have any questions or comments, you can always send me an email as well, right? Just respond to the email, no worries. Because we're short on time, and I wanted to also show you production activities because I love P3 activities. P3 activities are all about short activities and getting a reaction time. But we also need production activities to give longer speaking activities for students where they can prepare for certain more real life situations. So as you can see, there are a lot of various production activities. I wanted to start with something that I find quite original. And I like it because you can use it as a review activity for a lot of various things. It's called complaints and locations. So you see, it's labeled as a production, but the grammar, there's no grammar. It's just called a review activity.
Mm-hmm.
Check it out. Student A is going to complain to student B. Student A has a complaint. Student B works in the place that student A is complaining about. Student A complains and student B needs to handle the complaint. How does it work? You have location cards for student B, okay? And we put numbers so that you can actually use this with a dice as well. A grocery store, a hotel, a doctor's office. And student A picks up a complaint card. The VIP service, you see the one in the middle, the VIP service has not been VIP. The student B needs to react appropriately in terms of formality and everything. And they need to model the activity based on the location they're at. So a doctor's office. Well, I'm really sorry if the VIP service didn't meet your needs. I have to say, this is a doctor's office. So honestly, every person that walks in is a VIP. I care about the health and treatment of every single one of my patients. And student A continues ranting and trying to complain, but I'm VIP, I pay more, or something like that. And student B needs to react appropriately.
Great.
Clear?
Mm-hmm.
You can use this, you see, with a lot of different target languages. And there are great extensions for the activity. Like write an online review of the place. Write the angry customer an apology letter for homework. The students can create an online message board on which one student writes his or her experience and the others comment. But these are different extensions you can do with this production activity.
Or for example, if they've got kind of WhatsApp chat, there can be two groups. One group is from the doctor's office. Another group are the clients who are complaining.
Absolutely.
You can need to work in writing.
Do you use WhatsApp chat with your students?
With some of them, yes.
Yes, that really depends on the teachers and the rules in your school and everything. I'm not an expert on that. I have to say I've seen more than once now a very, very good speaker on that. She's quite popular now on Facebook. She's got a TEDx talk, Yelena Sarnavska. She's really interesting, talking about that, creating chats with students and using technology, WhatsApp chats with teens. Oh, sorry, I missed. Could you give an example in the previous task to link okay with byte?
We can do it.
Okay. Or it depends if it's a monologue or it's a dialogue. Let's do it quickly because I have a lot of other production activities I want to share as well. So let's say I'm doing a monologue.
Okay.
And I'm talking about feeling okay. Because I got the card and the first thing I thought of is, well, okay. When people say, I'm okay, how are you? I'm okay, I'm fine. Well, feeling okay is great. I feel okay most of the days, actually. I'm pretty lucky on that. I think I'm a very happy individual. I focus mostly on the positive than on the negative. I mean, I live in St. Petersburg. Do you know the weather in St. Petersburg? It's easy to focus though on the negative when you live in a place with a climate like St. Petersburg, but that never brings me down. I've been living here for 13 years. I absolutely love it. And it's because my ability to focus on the positive. Now, there are things that of course you can't ignore. And I have to say, if somebody bites me, well, that hurts. That hurts. I'm not okay. Whatever, I just improvise. I try to improvise something like that. That's this dexterity is something very good for students to practice. The ability to link like that ideas in a monologue format, in a dialogue format, it doesn't have to make perfect sense. The students are going to learn more and more to do that. Remember that what you're referring to, okay and bite, that was in a C2. Building dexterity. at levels, building dexterity for A2, B1 level, the associations will be much simpler, much more logical, let's say. Not simpler, but more logical. At C2 level, yeah, linking okay and biting, I agree, not easy. It didn't make much sense what I said, but I did manage to link them in a monologue.
And one more time, it's much more interesting than usual speaking activities even for C2s.
Now my students are used to it. Whenever they know, I don't tell them that we're gonna do building dexterity. I do like this. I start stretching, up, and they know that it's gym time, but it's gym for the brain.
Yeah, and it's cool for A1s or for teens, and because you're teaching them not just English, but yeah, the ability to think. Because yeah, like you said in the beginning, it's they sometimes don't have enough life experience to talk about something. It helps a lot. Yeah,
I agree. Kids don't. Yeah, they don't have the life experience. They don't always know what to say, and adults sometimes are too stuck because they just got out of work or things like that. They're stuck in the real world, things like that.
Mm-hmm. And for teens,
associate everything to something that speaks to their real world, and here it's just dexterity.
And for teens, it's also a great way to step from personal, because they are speaking activities on A1 level in books, usually about do like music and so on.
Music, clothes. I find teens, those are dangerous topics. They can easily get offended or offend each other by little remarks on each other's clothes or what kind of music they like, things like that. I mean, you place a rock fan and a rap fan together to speak about music. Nothing's good going to come out of that. Two teens that have different musical tastes. Bleh. Okay, let's continue. Let's get back to the production activities. So I really love that. Complaints and locations. So next one I wanted to show you. So there are really loads and loads. I highly recommend you explore. I'll try to have more and more webinars on that where I show you activities that I think will come in useful. I wanted to show you one here that I think will really come in useful as well, because it's a very, very flexible one. As you can see, in terms of level, we put A2, B1, B1, B2, B2 plus, and there are lots of different things you can focus on in terms of target language. Different conditionals, modals of obligation. Let's check it out. Magic World Leaders Meeting. It's also a good way to avoid politics, because this is a political situation, basically. Look at the situation. The students represent different communities within the magic world. People, mermaids, trolls, cavemen, etc. They all meet together to negotiate on how society should be organized. So this is basically like a G7 summit, basically. You can use this with adults to simulate a real political situation in terms of like debating, argumenting, giving speeches, presentations, things like that, and still avoid all the traps of talking about politics in class. You put the students into groups. You assign each of them, each group, a role, what creatures they represent. The students will have to decide how to live together in the world. So they need to agree on certain rules. So you hand out role cards to each group. The groups study the agendas, and they prepare a short speech to give to the class first. After the speeches, you can have a question and answer session from representatives of the other groups. And then you can have debate or negotiation style meetings where different groups talk about what would be good rules for them to live in harmony in the magical world. Check it out. These are the role cards. Those are the representatives of these different worlds. So you see medieval king. Well, his agenda is to increase his army to 2,000, to organize importing antibiotics against the plague, because to get help with organizing sanitary services. Medieval times, I mean. All these different things are on the agenda of the medieval king. That's what he wants to achieve. That's what the group wants to achieve in their negotiations. You have the Sea King. Stop plants and factories that pollute water. Get help with cleaning the ocean from plastic waste. A lot more things on his agenda. You have 6 pages of those, okay? Oh, I love her. She's the candy queen. How awesome is she? She wants to increase candy exports, increase sugar, milk, fruit, butter imports, get help with organizing International Dental Center, because I do love her, but she's not helping. Include sweets in school lunches worldwide. I am pretty sure there are other groups that are going to oppose that. And so you see, all these different groups have their agendas. So you can use these cards first for speeches, brainstorming and little presentations, and then for negotiations. You have a ghost king, a forest king, of course, who's going to defend the environment. Exotic islands king. I like the modern world prime minister. Modern people prime minister. She wants to build new highways worldwide, new factories, increase healthy food imports, technology, things like that. Robot king, wizards and witches. And the last 2, troll and vampires. There you go. You don't need to use all the roles, depending on the size of your groups.
How often are you asked how you create this?
Sorry?
How often are you asked how you create this, how it comes to your mind?
Quite often. We wear shirts and, you know, jackets and everything, but at heart, we're little boys.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it combines everything if you think about it. Where's the inspiration for a Magic World leaders meeting? Part of the inspiration is probably one day we were watching some news about politics, about some kind of political summit, and and you associate that to Game of Thrones or Harry Potter World or Lord of the Rings, things like that, and you have Magic World leaders meeting. Any questions on this activity?
No questions.
No? Everything is clear?
Huh?
I love this one.
Yeah.
No questions now. We can only think about candies.
The Candy Queen, she's awesome.
Would you like the candy king?
I don't have too much problem with that, honestly. I can eat a lot, and I'm exactly like my father, so I can eat and eat and eat, and luckily, for now.
If you were a girl,
I am already the Candy King.
if you were a girl, we would call you a witch. You know, not a candy king.
No, she's a Candy Queen. Respect her.
Oh, sorry.
Actually, talking about changes happen in life. So a fun activity that I want to show you, because this is a topic I find difficult to find good speaking activities to practice used to. So this production activity is called Metamorphosis. We're going to practice used to. And here's a good way to give instructions to make everything clear. Write the following questions on the board. Who am I? Who was I? And you're going to model one of the cards with the students so that they clearly see how you use used to or didn't used to show the change that happened in your life. And then the procedure is the students are in pairs or in little groups. Each pair has a set of character cards. Student A takes a character card. It's a secret, does not show it to his or her partners. And using used to and didn't used to, A describes his or her life changes, contrasting the past and the present. And partners should try to guess who he or she was and who he or she is now. Let's take a look. I clicked on it, so I'm already on the second page. There we go. You were a criminal, now you're a police officer. You were a princess, now you're a knight. That probably came from, yeah, Game of Thrones. What's her name again? Brienne? Was supposed to be a princess, but she's a knight. Contrast, okay? You were a weak student, now you're a famous scientist. Einstein. You were a student, now you're a grandma, okay? So the student uses used to and didn't used to contrast their past self and their present self, and the student B, or if they're in a group, the other students in the group should come up with both. The answer that, hey, you were a student and now you're a grandma.
Yeah, that's fun.
Clear?
Yes.
We did this because I find, yeah, it's not easy to find engaging activities for used to, didn't used to.
Uh-huh.
So that was Metamorphosis for used to, didn't used to. Now, you know what? You know what? It's time for party time.
Wow.
Finally.
Yes, fine. Well, it's a bit early, actually. It's 6 p.m.
Oh, that's okay. We've got 4 days of summer before working. That's okay, let's start.
For Ekaterinburg, it's okay to have party.
Sorry?
We in Ekaterinburg, it's time for party. It's
Perfect. Okay, you can party. Okay, so I'm going to quickly describe party time activities for all of you in Yekaterinburg and further east. Everyone who's further west, don't listen, okay?
Okay.
No.
So party time is a good activity to practice present perfect with yet and already. There's a similar kind of activity, asking for a raise. I've done videos on that and it's available already online. So asking for a raise, check it out yourself. You'll see that it's very similar. Party time is very simple. Students are roommates. They're having a party tonight and they have to get ready. All you need to do is write on the board. So this is for the dice. 1, 2, 3, yes. 4, 5, 6, no. Student A takes a party card and asks student B a question with yet. Student B rolls the die. Based on the number he or she rolls and the chart, student B answers the question. If the answer is no, he or she must come up with a reason why not. So it would work like this. Hey, for the party tonight, have you called a clown?
No, I haven't.
Well, you need to roll the dice first. It's not convinced.
It's no, I rolled the dice.
It's a 5.
Yes.
So you say, no, why haven't you called him yet?
Because it's party, you are turning 60. Antoine, what clown are you talking about?
I'm turning 60?
Awesome.
Well, I don't care. I still want a clown.
No clowns. No clowns anymore, sorry.
No what?
No clowns.
No clowns?
No, we think maybe let's call a doctor better.
Party time over.
No.
I'm
You
sorry,
get the idea?
No, we call it a cook. It's better.
A cook?
Yes, we don't.
To make cookies.
Cook.
You were supposed to cook to call the cook yesterday.
That's the
What's
party
this about the calling the cook today? He has no time to cook food for my party. It's already 6 p.m. If I'm 60 years old, I'm going to bed in 2 hours, okay?
Yeah.
And no cook and no clown, sorry.
That was a great birthday party.
Yeah, let's wait for Santa Claus. That models.
Santa Claus?
Yeah,
Yes.
he's closer to you in terms of age, you know. You'll have a great conversation.
Oh, we're going to combine birthdays. Okay.
Yes, yours and Santa's. He's 59. You're 60.
So,
Antoine, you're quite young. Don't listen.
don't worry, I don't get offended that easily.
Yes.
So, basically, yes, I have more production activities. It's loads of fun. You just practice with, the students are using yet and already just at the beginning of each card, because they say if they've already done it or if they haven't done it yet. But then the conversations lead on to something more productive. They explain why not. They make more plans. And you can extend that activity to students preparing an invitation to the others, things like that, what we've got. So the invitation to my 60th birthday party would be like, well, you know what? There's no clowns, but there will be Santa Claus. Come to the party. Any questions on party time?
When will we have party time?
When will we have party time?
Yeah, it's already 6 p.m.
Well, I'm not turning 60 that soon. Sorry.
Oh, let's wait.
Well, we have to. I mean, you said party time for my 60th birthday, so
Okay.
don't worry. It's just a few years. It's just a few years.
Yeah, it's just 3 years.
Please don't forget.
To call us before the clown.
When I'll be 60, I can't promise not to forget things.
Hmm.
We believe in you.
So, da-la-la. Next production activity I wanted to show.
Just don't want to invite us.
Sorry?
You just don't want to invite us. Uh-huh.
Here he disappeared, just like a Santa.
Webinar over.
We're kidding.
Teasing.
Take it easy.
I know, don't worry. Just in terms of time.
Okay.
So next production activity, solve the mystery.
Wow.
This is to practice for students to have fun with modals of deduction, modals of speculation.
It's even more interesting.
Exactly, right? Let's forget about my 60th birthday party. I mean, who wants to go to that party? So solve the mystery is a lot of fun, and we're going to work on developing more if these work with your students, because I always have fun playing mysteries with my students. The students are friends, and their friend Billy is missing. The police are working way too slowly. The students go to Billy's house to look for clues, and based on the clues, they come up with a theory for what happened to Billy. So here, because it's more interactive, and we've added pictures that you can use to lead into the story. It's fun. So there's a picture of the house, for instance, a picture of Billy. Billy's missing. Look how nice he looks. I mean, that's a good kid. Why would Billy go missing, huh? He's a good kid.
Why not?
He's so good that he was stolen, maybe.
Well, that's the thing. So you tell the students the situation, you use the pictures to support the storytelling, and then you split the class into little pairs of groups, into pairs or groups, and you give each group a little set of evidence cards. On one by one, students are going to take an evidence card and come up with 2 or 3 different theories as to why that thing is there or that thing is not there. And at the end, when they have all the evidence cards, they're going to try to match them all into one beautiful theory. So that's what the students find at Billy's place. A book on how to build a house, some goggles, a kind of treasure map here. See you there, Anne, Billy. Although it might be not a treasure map, but just a date. Flying lessons, some flyer for 10% discount on flying lessons. A bunch of winter clothes in the bin for some reason. So you see what I mean? The students with each card can use models of deduction and speculation to quickly make guesses. And then when they've gone over all the cards, they need to discuss together to make one general theory as to where Billy is. At the end, you give students the answer, of course. To make it more fun, like we've even put a little picture of an envelope if you want to use that. Guys, Billy sent us a letter. We know where Billy is. And actually, the mystery is not too difficult. Well, it's not as crazy as this. The imagination of students just runs wild. Dear friends, don't worry about me. I took flying lessons secretly and flew away to live on a tropical island. It's absolutely amazing here. You all should do the same thing. Take care, Billy.
Billy's really a smart kid.
He is. I think actually he didn't go there alone. I'm pretty sure he kidnapped, well, he kidnapped.
He kidnapped a candy queen, yeah?
Exactly, yeah. He went there with the candy queen.
Now he's really in paradise.
Although the candy queen shouldn't be sitting in the sunshine for too long.
Yeah, so he's got some problems.
Let's solve the mystery. Any questions, comments, and solve the mystery?
Oh, that's really interesting. Thank you for the idea.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. We're gonna publish more.
Oh, that's great, really.
We have it's our passion, really, creating materials. We're teaching here throughout the year as well, and we need materials. We need good speaking activities. Last one for today, but it won't be the last webinar, don't worry. Last one for today. I wanted to show you as well this little thing. I like this a lot. What happened on Earth? So this activity gives the students the chance to use third and mixed conditionals in a kind of guessing game. It's a lot of fun. The situation is that students are space travelers. I like an introduction can be the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy kind of topics, things like that. Just watch the trailer together. What do you think? Anyways, the students are space travelers. They've just returned after a long trip in space. The Earth is very, very different now. They must think about what happened and talk about the chain of events that led to the current situation. So the procedure is like this. You describe the situation to the students, you put them into groups, and you give each group a set of New World cards. Student A is a regular inhabitant of Earth. A takes 2-3 New World cards, and to the other students who have just arrived back from their space trip, he or she describes the situation to his or her partners. So you'll see that you might want to encourage it if the students aren't mastering it yet well enough, but in that case, I would call you back to P2s and P3s so that you make it more automatic. But you want to encourage the students to use third and mixed conditionals here. The partners, the other students, can ask questions to prompt more explanations and everything, and students then switch roles so that each student gets the opportunity to describe the new world. Sorry? I didn't catch that. Let me give you, here's the situation. Like, again, little pictures for you if you need to use them to like illustrate the story, the introduction. And then here you have New World cards. So students should take more than one. It's more fun and more creative, but you can start with one. 20 years ago, zombie apocalypse happened. 15 years ago, underwater cities were built. Since 5 years ago, everyone has been able to buy a flying suit. 3 years ago, robots were given human rights and became part of society. 10 years ago, everyone had a nano device installed in their brain. 4 years ago, teleportation was invented. Oh, 11 years ago, everyone got a new medical procedure done. Now the life expectancy is 700 years old. So you know what? 60 years old, I'm like a toddler. 2 years ago, 0-calorie sweets were invented.
Yeah, everything is for you.
The question is, are they as tasty?
So, and what's the procedure? Can you show the example?
The procedure is here.
Yes, just,
You want me to show you?
yeah.
Give you an example. So I'll model one. So I like that about sugar. Let me get to the sugar. Let's say my cards are. So my cards are what? The first one about life expectancy, and the second one about 0-calorie sweets. Like, this is, welcome back to Earth. You're gonna love it here. You're gonna love it. Like, you left 15 years ago, and you know what? You thought that I was old because I was 60 years old. If you had only stayed to see this happen, to see this come through, it's amazing. 11 years ago, this great company made this great breakthrough, and everybody on Earth got a new medical procedure done. Now, we're all living up to 700 years old. Some 750, on average 700 years old.
Oh, that is awful.
I know. If you had been there 11 years ago, you would have gotten that procedure done. I think call this, if you call your health insurance, they might be able to point you towards a doctor that still does the procedure. But honestly, we all have it, so kind of, yeah, I'm not sure they still do the procedure.
No, I'm not sure we need it, but you realize how many people are going to be on Earth? It's too much. You should move to another planet with us.
Well, but yes, that's why we sent you on a mission to find a new planet. Are you saying back without any new planets?
Well, we've got new wonderful planets. There is Candy Planet, Water Planet. There are some, but you know, there is a planet when 1 hour means 7 years. So it's, I'm not sure that it's going to work for people. But maybe
well, they're definitely going to live longer than before. But yes, I see what you mean.
Yeah. So yeah, what else new on Earth?
Oh, sorry. What was it clear, the model?
Yeah, it was.
Yes? What else is new on Earth? I forget. What was the other card?
Candies,
0
calories.
Oh, 0-calorie sweets. Well, you mentioned that you have a sweet candy planet. Actually, you know what? 2 years ago, well, this was kind of a consequence. If we hadn't got this procedure that our life expectancy boomed, it might not have happened. But when everybody became that healthy to live 700 years old, honestly, there are a lot of people who lost control, a bit like if you won the lottery, basically, and they went crazy. People started eating sweets like crazy, and no matter the procedure, the population started getting really fat. So we had to invest a lot of research. If we hadn't invested that research, I don't know, you'd be amazed. We might all be 700 years old and 700 kilos fat. But thank God, 2 years ago, we made 0-calorie sweets. So those were invented, and since then it's been going down.
Wow.
Less and less obese, so we're getting back to, let's say,
To normal.
what you were used to.
And how fat were you 2 years ago?
Sorry?
Do you have photos? Do you have photos? How did you look like 2 years ago before this wonderful invention?
Oh, you don't want to know. You don't want to know. Well, of course, you know that I'm excellent at selfies, if you remember from my brag. So I did take a few selfies, and they were the most beautiful selfies at the time. But it was at the time, so I'd rather not show them.
So actually, it's so difficult to believe that people invented such things. What about these candies? Are they as tasty as earlier?
I don't know about that.
How you don't know about that?
Wait, there's just a question in the chat about the role of student B. So here you see actually one of you is performing like student B. The whole goal of activities like that is for student Bs to act like space travelers, as you were doing. You're asking me more questions, you're asking me more details. You're trying to find out how you could adapt to this new world. And look, there's even an activity extension where, again, student A and the student Bs are going to develop more their fluency even. Students take several New World cards, and now they act as part of a political party. So they must come up with a platform full of promises and changes that will help them gain power in society. And all those should be based on the situations on the New World cards. It can even be led into pictures, speeches, things like that. So in this
we are
case,
preparing our students to rule the world, right?
yeah.
I like it.
Well, look, 20 years ago, zombie apocalypse happened, and so your political party, well, you know what? I forget, who wrote that book?
Which
Dead
one?
Soul. When you get dead people to vote for yourself.
Google?
Gogol, thank you, Gogol. Exactly. So you can imagine a situation a bit like Gogol. You're a political party, and yes, 20 years ago, zombie apocalypse happened. You know what? It's not that bad, because there are a lot of zombies, and if we can get the zombies to vote for us, then we're set. Zombies are idiots. They're not really going to pay attention to the promises we make. Well, they're not going to try to follow through. All we have to do is make sure that zombies have enough brains to eat. So let's make promises based on that. And you see, the political party, we discuss together and we make some promises and ideas like that. We can make a poster that will inspire zombies to vote for us. Did that answer the question about student B?
Yes, thanks.
Perfect.
Uh-huh.
There you go. That was the last production activity I wanted to show you today. In these short, like 1 hour, 1 hour and a half webinars, we don't have time to go over every single speaking activity, but these should be very good speaking activities for you to start the year off. Especially the P3s. You remember building dexterity, idiot, convince. Those are great ways, great activities for you to bring in your first lesson and make sure that students have something to say. Do you have any questions or comments on today's P3s and production activities?
We want to say thank you.
You're
It's
welcome.
lots of fun. We are already waiting for a new academic year to start. Can't wait to try something. To try to, to make something for future revolution, for example.
For a revolution?
Yeah, we're talking too much about political parties.
Ah, no. Well, with aliens and stuff like that, yes.
And some of them, like building dexterity, the first part of it is a great way to break the ice if you've got some new groups.
Exactly. It's easy to set up. It doesn't require too much of your time in terms of preparation. It takes 2-3 minutes to prepare for building dexterity. Do watch my video on YouTube for you to see all the possibilities you have with building dexterity cards. But yeah, it's a great way to break the ice with the students, as you said, and it's very good to build their dexterity and fluency.
And it's also great for the first lesson because in building dexterity, everyone is talking a lot, even if there are only single words. So one more time, if it's a new student, and they're gonna, I think, say that the lesson was great because from the very first lesson, they're gonna start talking.
You make a very good point. Yes, I would like to remind you of those big differences between P3s and production activities. That yes, P3 are shorter speaking activities, but designed to reaction, yes? Whereas production activities usually have some preparation time and are much longer. Which means that you'll notice that in speaking activities, we also have, you know, sometimes the weaker students feel a bit too shy, embarrassed, because they feel they know less. And they often see that at preparation time. They have 5 minutes to, like, for example, they have 5 minutes to prepare for their production activity, and they'll see that the stronger students will have more ideas, will make more notes, things like that, and it brings their confidence down. The great thing about P3 activities, a bit like P2 activities, is that at P3 activities, there are no weak students. It's reaction. So the students, there's no right answer for P3 activities. Students will just react to whatever they see, to whatever cue they see on the card, or hear if the other student just reads, doesn't show the card. And there are no weak students. It's a great way for you to help students to break that ice, to start speaking. Just react. Feel natural. Have fun with it.
Yes. Okay, thanks. It was nice to meet you.
You're welcome. So I will upload this video as well on YouTube, like the previous webinars, so that you have a reference. You can watch it again in the future. And this week, I'm going to suggest my next 2 webinars. I'm going to try to plan them on Saturday afternoon. I think just for a change, it's a good time.
What time?
All right?
Afternoon?
If you can't join Saturday afternoon, again, I will upload the videos online. All right?
Right, yes.
Okay. Have a good evening.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
And let's not forget to wish a good party time to Yekaterinburg, because apparently it's already late.
Yekaterinburg, have a great party. Call a clown. I'm sure that all of you are young and beautiful there.
Thank you very much. See you soon.
See you soon.
See you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Saturday, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.